Hi, everyone, and welcome to tonight's team Higher Living call. My name is Amy, and tonight we are talking about an issue that is very near and dear to my heart. It's supporting children with special needs with essential oils and natural solutions. And for those of you who don't know my story, my family, I have a beautiful young man named Mighty Max, and he's 11, and he was born prematurely and then soon diagnosed with CHARD syndrome, and about 3 or 4 years ago also was diagnosed with pretty severe autism as well. So this, as you can imagine, is very near and dear to my heart. And any child who learns differently or just experiences life differently, I have an extreme passion for them and to help them reach their potential and to just to be happy, right? That's most importantly, is we want our children to be happy. So that's a little bit of my background. He spent probably most of his first year of life in the ICU. And so I am so grateful for modern medicine, because through the years, he has had many life-threatening conditions due to his this genetic disorder that's pretty rare and serious. And I'm going to turn off my phone. And so we are very blessed to have modern medicine. But at the same time, it's such a beautiful gift to have natural solutions that we can support him at home. And I so wish I had had the oils, 8, 9, 10 years ago. And perhaps we could have gotten him off a lot of the medications much sooner and been much more proactive. But so that's my goal, is to teach other parents what is out there and what we can do for our kids, whether they're toddlers or they're teenagers or anything in between, right? So my intention for this call is to empower you with those resources that I have found, and to empower you with just some tips that I've learned on my journey, and of course share some essential oils and products that have worked for us so far and that I think are a must for every home, really, if you have a child, but especially if you have a child with special needs. And there's a wide spectrum of special needs, right? You have people that just have a slight learning disability with just a little extra support. They do great and they're fully independent in life. And then there is the full spectrum on the other side of children who will need lifetime care and that aren't able to communicate much and really will really need parenting the rest of their life, right? And then there's everything in between. So obviously this is going to be just a broad overview. My child is more on the severe spectrum and he will need lifetime care. But hopefully some of these tips will help you if you have a child in the very, very mild stages too. Most importantly, I think all of you who are on this call would know this because you're already using essential oils. Essential oils are a beautiful gift. I mean, we are so blessed to have them. But let's also remember that there is no modern medicine or essential oil that's going to cure a genetic disorder. I remember when my son first got diagnosed, I was like, okay, let's fix this. And they're like, it's his genes, we can't fix it. And so if you have a child with Down syndrome or even with autism, which it's not necessarily a genetic disorder, but a lot of different variants, essential oils are definitely going to help and lessen a lot of the symptoms. And some people have full recovery from some disabilities, but for the most part, we're looking at like, what can we do to get the toxins out of our home, right? What can we do to manage behaviors and boost their immunity and just be the best people we can be? So that's my goal for tonight. And while essential oils are wonderful, they need to be part of a holistic approach, right? Just like we can't just take one oil and expect us to lose, like 50 pounds if we want. That would require exercise and dieting. Same thing with special needs children, right? They, for example, let's look at their diet and let's see a lot of kids that are on the spectrum and a lot of kids across the board in disability world have severe allergens to mold or to GMOs or food additives like dye or even gluten. So really look at the food and perhaps seek out a naturopath or someone that you trust that really understands that holistic point of view. And then definitely look at removing toxins in your home, because as I said, a lot of people, especially on the spectrum, have a very high sensitivity to chemicals. And it's been amazing. We've had a lot of success stories of people once they switch over to using all natural cleaners and such, that a lot of the behaviors go down because you're removing a lot of these toxins in their home. And then sleep, of course, is so vital. And then having schedules in your home. So it's a holistic approach when you look at a child that is learning and living differently. But tonight, I just want to touch on a little bit about essential oils. First, I just want to share a few tips that have helped me along this 11-year journey, roller coaster journey of special needs. First is to be patient. This is a marathon. I hate that quote, but yet it's so true. It's a marathon, it's not a sprint. So be patient and know that whether it's an essential oil or a new therapy, your kiddo is not going to overnight just be like magically, quote, fixed, right? It's going to be a lot of different things, trial and error, and some people find immediate success with essential oils. For myself, with my son, we definitely had immediate success with his health, but his behaviors, he is not able to communicate. He's a nonverbal child, and he really doesn't want to use his talker or sign language much to express emotions. So it's very much a guessing game. So if you have a child, or if you know of a child that's more in that spectrum of higher needs and not able to communicate as much, it might require a little more trial and error when you're using the essential oils, okay? So just be patient and be kind to yourself. Second, and so important, is to establish a protocol. It is so important not to just use an oil once and think, I don't know if it worked. So establish a protocol. And we're going to talk a little bit about that tonight, but to track the progress, whether it's working or whether it's not, what else is going on in their life. And I always struggle with giving a special needs parent one more thing to do, but it really is helpful. So when you can find that time, set up that guidelines. And what's really important with that is to have a written schedule so that others can follow that timeline with you, right? So let's say you go on vacation, right? Most special needs mom would be like, what? What's a vacation? But let's say you go on vacation, or you're traveling for work, or for some reason you're not available and someone else is going to provide the oils and support for your kiddo, then that's really helpful to have that written down ahead of time, and so that they can follow that. And I'm going to show you a copy of mine. And also it's really helpful to you as the mom or the dad, because once you have something written down, oftentimes you take it more seriously. It's like, okay, this is what I'm doing, right? And so for Max's, like, we have an actual essential oil routine, okay? And this is really, again, I want to show you this one more time in case you want to see it. If you have a child, my son is able to read, so this is probably backwards for you guys, so I apologize. But basically it has like morning when you wake up, and he needs full support with this, but eventually my goal is that he would not. So it's like morning when you wake up, 1, apply to bottom of foot. And then I have, this one is not number 1, but I have it labeled with a 1. This one's number 5. So this is like apply behind ears on wrist, and it's night before you go to sleep. So I'm following that routine with him, and I'm also doing that with him. And that's so important, one, to establish a routine so that you are following that with your child, but also so that the child understands that that is the routine. Because scheduling and routines are so important to children with disabilities. Often in life, they are just kind of moved around. And I know my son, once I got his entire team on the same wavelength with me, I'm like, listen, he's got an amazing memory. He likes scheduling, which a lot of kids, for example, on the spectrum do. Let's really focus on this, on a schedule and a calendar. And we've had great success with it across the board in his life. So this has been really wonderful to do for him. So establish some kind of a routine, and it doesn't have to be perfect right away, and it's going to be something that you're going to test out, but it is nice to have it written down. And that's also involving them, right? Like, I could much faster if I put this on himself, if I just did it all for him, it'd be much faster. And there are some days, honestly, that I do that. Like the school bus is coming and you're like, I gotta get this on, but When I am a better mom on the other days, it's, hey, Max, play behind. And so he is learning to take care of himself. Because for those of us with kids that are highly impacted, our goal is someday that they can do more for themselves. And so it's a beautiful thing when I say, apply this to the bottom of your foot. He actually uncaps it and applies it to the bottom of his foot. And how many times would you trust an 11-year-old to do that with their own medicine? So that's amazing with oils that we can trust them in that way. And again, I always use roller balls. I'm not giving them like a bottle of helichrysum or frankincense, and because that could be a little expensive if they have fun with that. So you're going to involve them, and really that's going to, again, there's a full spectrum of ability, right? But whether or not they can communicate or not, you're involving them in that process and you're having them take ownership. It's showing respect to that child and getting them to feel more involved. And they could even help make the roller balls with you, right? Again, depending on their ability, maybe they just put the sticker on, or maybe they actually put the drops in, but you never know what's sinking into that brain of theirs of I helped them, and this is me, this is my ownership, this is my ball. And so maybe you would even make it really simple, like happy or sleep, something that they know what that means. And so really, again, I can't stress the importance of ownership. Have them involved to that level. And then talk with them about it. Like when you're going to put that on, like let's say this one's Sweet Dreams. When I put it on him, I'm like, Max, I'm going to put this on you and you're going to have a good night's sleep. Again, positive affirmations, right? Sometimes it works. And so I put that on him, and the whole time I'm telling him about it too. This is what we're going to do. I'm going to put this on the back of your neck. Because again, a lot of times with kids, especially those that are more impacted, we move them through life and we just do things to them or for them. And we need to get their permission and really show them that level of respect. And along with that, a lot of kids with special needs are very sensitive to touch. So I know my son, when I walk into his room, he always sticks his foot out because he knows that's where I'm going to put his roller ball. But if I were just to swipe it on his foot, it would be really ticklish and he would hide his foot, right? Because really a lot of feet it's a great place for oils, but if you're highly sensitive, you just want to know that that's coming. You don't want someone just to come and swipe it. So what I do, and it's been a very helpful tip, I've had a lot of fellow special needs moms are like, that works so great, is kind of rub their foot a little bit, like prepare them for it, and then either take it on your hand and apply it onto their foot, or once you've rubbed that foot enough, then you can take that roller ball and add to it. So it's not kind of like a shock of, the oil, the coldness. So that really helps. And I often will apply it to the spine as well. That's a really great way. The spine and right underneath the hairline is your occipital point, and that's a gateway to your brain. So that's going to be one area. Your spine and the bottom of your feet is where I do most of mine for my kiddo, and then on the wrists too for mood support. Okay, and then two very important things. Bring your oils wherever you go because temper tantrums do not just happen in your home, do they? No, it's in the middle of a grocery store on the day that you forgot all of your oils because you switched purses or what have you, right? So bring your oils with you, like your emergency oils. To me, I often don't carry emergency medical oils. I carry emergency emotion oils because if my son's having a breakdown or if he has a breakdown and I need support to get through it. So when I say emergency oils, literally I keep a keychain of like console and peace, and we'll talk about those in a minute. So bring them with you, okay? And apply the oils frequently. You don't want to just think about once a day, like, oh, I put console on him, he's going to be comforted the rest of the day. No, that's not how oils work. They last in your body for a couple hours, but I don't know about you, but when I'm having a hard day, like cheer is one that I've been relying on a lot lately. It's actually in my purse. I was like, where is it? And I put that on sometimes every 30 minutes if I'm struggling. And I might just put a little on, or I smell it. So kind of test with your kiddo what is working for them. It might be every 2 hours that they need an application, or every 4 hours. If they're in school, you can talk with their team. And there are ways that you can get those oils applied during the day. You can get a doctor's note. So talk with your medical team, talk with your education team, and if the oils are making a difference in your kiddo, make sure it's happening during the school day too, because they could be gone for 8 or 9 hours and they need that support at school. Okay. And if it's a kiddo that is able to apply them themselves, then great. They can go to the bathroom and apply it. They can use, I love these little inhalers because there's a little cotton pad inside, and they just smell it and then put it away, and no one is the wiser that they don't smell funny or anything like that. It's all going to be in here, and they can just smell it as they want. This is the Focus. And that's a really great way if they're able to do that themselves. If not, then you just need to get their team involved. So there are ways around that. And last but not least, try to prepare. We all have an idea, right? Whether your kids are typical or they do have some challenges. There are certain times of the day, kind of like the witching hour for your kiddo. And if you know that's 4 o'clock right after school, or if you know it's right before bedtime, mine is right before bedtime. He goes a little cuckoo, and preempt with those oils, right? So if you know they go a little cuckoo for cocos at a certain time of the day, then maybe start applying balance or a calming oil a half an hour before then, or an hour before then. Diffuse it, apply it topically, whatever works for them, but think preemptively, and that really can help make a difference. And same for you. So you can apply that at the same time, because if you know they're going to go a little crazy, apply some for yourself because you want to also remain stable. And speaking of, now we're going to go into recommended products. This is probably one of my most important tips and one of the hardest tips to teach other moms, because one that I really struggled with for a long time is the old put on your oxygen mask first, right? When you're in an airline, they're like, before you take care of others, take care of yourself, and da-da-da. Well, most moms are like, oh, that's ridiculous. I would always put the oxygen on my kid. Well, most special needs parents are like that too. And a lot of us end up quite broken because you can't keep up that consistency for a long time. So I cannot emphasize enough that don't be looking at the oils just for your kiddo. Be looking at them for you first and foremost. It's actually the reason I got involved with doTERRA. 3 years ago, I was like, okay, one, I need to keep my son off antibiotics. He was on it literally probably once a month. He was on so many that the doctors had to keep a list of all the antibiotics and which ones worked and which ones worked together and what issues he had with them, because keeping up his health was pretty much life and death for him. He just had a very low immunity system. So I was so tired of that up and down that I was like, okay, one, maybe I can try oils and keep him healthy. And two, I wanted to keep my brain healthy and my moods, right? Because more important than anything is if we can keep ourself fairly stable. We're never going to be perfect. Sometimes I think I'm so close, but we're never going to be perfect. But if we can just try to be as stable and grounded and joyful and just able to be there and ride that journey with our kiddos and not experience all the downs as dramatically, oils can do that for us. They can really help ground us. So when I'm talking about the recommended products, I'm actually going to talk about parents first and then children. And then we'll wrap up with some good resources, okay? So for parents, I'm really worried about promoting your overall wellness because if you're not healthy, you can't take care of your kiddos. So if you think about it that you're not even doing it for yourself, you're doing it for your kids. You need to stay healthy so that you can take care of your kids today, tomorrow, and possibly 20 years from now. So take care of your body so that it's here and it's strong and it's healthy and vibrant and that you're thriving and not just surviving. You don't want to get into that victim mentality of, oh, I gotta take care of my kid. You can have a great life too. So, and we want to support your digestion so that you're maintaining a healthy body and I think most of you probably know, but if not, so much of your serotonin, which is your feel-good hormone, is in your gut. It's like 90%. So if you're not having healthy digestion, most likely it's going to impact your mood, and then that's going to impact your kid. So again, all comes back to that kiddo, right? And then last but not least, as I said, we need to manage our moods so that we can be there for our children now and the future. So first and foremost, Lifelong Vitality Pack. It's an absolute must. Like any parent, if you have any kid, but especially a kid with any kind of challenges, you need to get on this because it's going to help keep you strong and healthy and manage your moods. It's just a great overall supplement package. It's whole foods. It's perfect. And if you haven't tried it yet, try it. doTERRA offers you 30-day money-back guarantee, so why not, right? If you struggle with energy at all, which a lot of parents do, and especially if you have kiddos that struggle with sleep or just moods, perhaps you're not getting enough sleep yourself, Max is a supplement that you can add to this Vitality Pack for really cheap. And this is really good mitochondrial support and will help your energy and your mood. So Max is a great one. Plus it has my son's name in it, which I like. Okay, those are absolute must. And along with the energy, two of the oils I love the most for energy are orange and peppermint together. It's a great blend. And actually I have it right here. It's not even capped because I just used it before the call. It's got a little energy on it. And that's great. I apply it in the back of my neck. I apply it on my wrists. Sometimes I feel like I bathe in it. And it's an amazing smell. Everyone loves it. And another one great for energy is called Motivate. It's in the aromatherapy blend line, and it's citruses and mints as well, and it'll really help keep you going. Okay, for parents, other really important ones, probiotics, again, to keep your gut healthy. Frankincense essential oil, so important. It'll help your brain stay healthy, and it helps overall cellular health, and it helps you manage your moods and to stay more grounded and calming. If you think about it, it's a tree. And what is a tree, right? It's rooted in the ground. And this is what you want to be for your kids. You don't want to be falling down every 2 seconds, right? You want to be a tree that just kind of is able to sway with their tides. So that's frankincense. And then for emotional support, find an oil that is your go-to. As I said earlier, Cheer recently has been doing it for me big time. And my son was having quite a few setbacks in school with some different things. And I would just put the Cheer on. And then other times I needed console because it was more deep grieving just of what was not going to happen for my child. And serenity and peace are also favorites for a lot of people. And then last but not least for parents is, well, 2 things. Oops, I forgot. The On Guard soft gels, absolute must, especially if you were spending time in the hospital a lot with your kiddos. If I had this, my son spent just pretty much the first 3 years of his life on and off in the hospital. I so wish I'd had this. This will help you so much to stay healthy. Or perhaps you're just really stressed out and you're not sleeping. Again, this will help keep you healthy. And it's On Guard Plus, just to remind you. It's not just On Guard. It's On Guard, black pepper, and Melissa, and oregano. And then the last but not least is the Serenity soft gel capsules. Highly recommend those. So, okay, so we have just a few more minutes, so I need to hurry up. For children, basically a lot of the things we just talked about, you're going to use for the kids, right? Because we're going to promote overall wellness and digestion and behavior support. So one, children, first and foremost, every single kid, especially if they have any health or development needs, the A to Z chewable tablets and the IQ Omega. Omega oils are so important for our brain health, especially as kids are developing and their brains develop like they're still going, right? Through their teen years, their brains are still developing. This one is crucial. They've done a lot of studies, not just doTERRA, but a lot of scientists. And omega oils are proven to be so effective for kids with ADHD, autism, anything on the executive functioning disorder spectrum. And it's also important for every kid, but especially if you have any brain issues at all. So highly recommend those. And you can add these to your Lifelong Vitality Pack and save money too. So ask your mentor about that. Also for them, so important to keep them healthy. I mean, I can't emphasize it enough. So On Guard should be your best friend. I apply this up and down. I use the roller ball, the touch, On Guard touch. I apply this up and down his spine and on the bottom of his feet, morning and night, and me as well for myself. And it's been 3 years of no antibiotics for illness. None. Like, that is a total game changer for a child who used to be on antibiotics literally monthly. This is so important. And it's because we're using On Guard, not only, the oil, we're using the supplements, we use the hand soap, we use the laundry detergent, we diffuse, but there are no germs allowed in our home. So we have kicked them out. And so if you think about it, a lot of people, when they come to me and say, I want to learn about oils for special needs, I'm like, and they always think behavior, but behavior is usually communication of something. And honestly, oftentimes it can be pain from something that they're not able to share, or something is going on in their bodies that they're uncomfortable. So if we can eliminate those medical issues, it'll be much easier to tackle the more difficult emotional issues, right? So if we can get them healthy and make sure, okay, their head's feeling good, this is feeling good, everything's in alignment, now we can tackle what's going on now. Because now if we're seeing behavior, maybe there is anxiety, maybe there are some other developmental behavior things happening. So just remember that behavior is communication. They are telling us something. So speaking of keeping a healthy gut, so important. I went crazy when doTERRA announced this last year at convention, because I had been searching for months for a really good probiotic for my son, and he wasn't able to swallow a big pill yet. So these are so great. They're literally like a pixie stick, and you just open it and just down the hatch, and they're so good. Like, I often will take one with them just because I love them so much. So the trick is just to not keep them out, because you don't want your kid taking them all day long. But these are amazing. There's, I think, 5 billion live cells, 6 different probiotic strains. They're encapsulated to ensure they receive, they actually go all the way down and not just in your stomach. So those are going to be so important to keep your kiddo's system regular. And that is a huge, huge, cannot emphasize enough how huge that is in the special needs world. So if you have a child, or if you have someone else, is talk to them about probiotics and really getting their gut going on a regular basis. Frankincense, same thing for them. Just like I said for the parents, it's kind of like a daily oil. I apply that to my son morning and night. And I also use for him, it's called DDR Prime. So it's damaged DNA repair. And it includes frankincense in it. It's got all the heavy hitter oils. And that's probably the oil I recommend most for every special needs family, is get DDR Prime right away. It comes in oil, and it comes also in soft gels. So for my son, I have it in a roller ball, and I apply that to his spine 2 or 3 times a day. And that's really great for overall cellular health, for brain, and for all over. I just want to give every one of his cells the most it can possibly have, and DDR is going to be that. It's one of those oils you don't hear a lot about, but it's a power hitter. Dr. Hill, the chief medical officer for doTERRA, says it's an oil that everyone needs to take every single day. So it's that important. Intune is an oil that I use myself, and I recommend for anyone with child with special needs, called Intune. And it's really for people who struggle with focus and concentration, but it's really great for just overall brain health. So definitely look at that one. And it's I can't say slightly, it's very strong smell. Some people love it and other people don't. If you don't, then put it on your feet, put a sock on, you're good to go. And then vetiver is amazing for so many kiddos and adults. If you experience anxiety, or if your kid experiences anger or sleep issues, vetiver is a really great, strong oil. When they've done studies of it, it's the #1 for ADHD, and cedarwood is a close runner-up. So those are 2 really great ones to try for your kiddos or for yourself. And then definitely find the behavior oils that are going to work for them. For a long time, I don't know why, I really struggled when my son would have a temper tantrum. I would almost forget that I had the oils. I know it sounds ridiculous. And luckily, I had a friend one time that was over, and she said, let's try Console with him. and it worked beautifully. And so now I always think of it as like a hug from the universe. And I always have a little roller ball of it on me at all times. And I always apply that to myself and to the child at the same time. So because you need to be comforted so that you can comfort the kiddo, okay? And then of course, find a great remedy for sleep. And if you don't have one yet, feel free, you can ask on Team Higher Living or on our personal Facebook page. That's kind of an overview for the kiddos. But as we wrap up, we're way over time. Let me give you a few quick resources so that you can learn more on your own. One is the oilexperiment.com. And it is going to be like a tally that you can keep. She's really great. And she's going to have like a protocol that you can establish for yourself. And it comes up with a tally. It's just really great. It's like you buy a little book. It's not that expensive. I'd really recommend just checking it out. And she's a doTERRA person too, and she's a child with special needs, so she totally gets it. The next one is Dr. Rankin's Helping Hands Rollerball Blend. And that's where I get like the Sweet Dreams and Connected. She's a doctor who specializes in natural healing, and she's put together some great blends that she used for her son on the autism spectrum, and now she's making them more public. And you can find that at coastalintegrativemedicine.com. And I will post these links later as well. And then, of course, your resource books, Modern Essentials and Essential Life, both have great information. Essential Life has a whole section or a few pages on autism and the brain, so I think that's really helpful. Definitely check that out. And then my very favorite resources for the brain is Danielle, and it's Danielle, dr.com, like Dr. Daniel, but it's reversed, DanielleDoctor.com. And she has a really great interactive Facebook page, and she does weekly Facebook Live. She's just that's her passion. She's really passionate and dedicated about helping people understand the brain and emotions better. And then she did this handout recently specifically for children and the brain, and you can find that on aromatools.com. Okay, so just gave you a whirlwind of information about special needs. Real quick, do you have any questions? We need to kind of wrap it up so we can move on to the business call. But I'm going to unmute everyone. So if you have any questions really fast. Unmute all. Now you're unmuted. Any questions? Okay. Well, we're going to go and wrap up the call because I know we have a lot of people waiting for the business call. But thank you so much for wanting to tune in to learn more about children with special needs and how to support them. If it's your child, I applaud you for just thinking outside the box. And if it's another child you're wanting to help, thank you for wanting to help, because it really does take a village, more than a village, to raise a child with special needs. And we so appreciate people wanting to support all of us. So thank you all, and we look forward to talking to you soon. If you're staying on for the business call, just hang on, okay? Bye-bye.
Thanks, Amy, for your passion and knowledge.
Thank you.